Welcome in, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Things are going well. As always, happy to be here with all of you. We have an important subject to talk about today. There's been a lot of hysteria, a lot of fear, a lot of people going crazy about what's going on with Europe, NATO, Russia, Ukraine, all this stuff. Is the United States going to abandon Europe? Are we leaving NATO? All that fun jazz and much more. So we're just going to break it down, tell you the truth about what's actually happening, not these talking heads who want to spin people up into a frenzy. Before we get into that, as always, please make sure to like and subscribe, comment with your thoughts. I want you all to comment with if you think the United States should stay in NATO or if you think the United States should leave NATO. Let me know in the comments below. We have some interesting facts we're going to read about NATO as well that I think many of you are going to enjoy. But let's just start. Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, Vice President J.D. Vance, both were recently in Europe. Both were meeting with respective counterparts, leaders. Hegseth was meeting with all these NATO heads. And Vance and Hegseth, both kind of in their own different ways, had the same message to Europe and the world that the United States is not going to be the blank check for everyone who's not putting their own skin in the game, right? You got to step up. You've got to look out for yourself. You have to be willing to defend your own people. And then, yes, the United States, as part of the NATO alliance, which was formed after World War II to combat and push back against the Soviet Union's influence in Europe, and it has since grown and grown and grown. It added new members as recently as shortly after Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So it's a very powerful military organization that dominates all of Europe. The United States of America, of course, being the biggest, strongest, most powerful, wealthiest military of them all. But now there's all these conversations starting about whether or not the United States is leaving NATO. Are we going to abandon the Europeans to the Russians? Are we going to let the Russians take Europe? Are we going to let Putin roll into Moscow? Are we going to let Putin roll into Warsaw? Not Moscow, obviously. Is he going to be rolling into Berlin? Is NATO going to collapse? And you see all this hysteria, which for the most part is just complete nonsense. And we're going to dig in that. But first, I want to show you a video of Pete Hegseth talking about how he's not going to let the United States get turned into a bunch of suckers. People have tried to twist this, but let's just play the video first. You can watch the video, then we're going to get into two big points about if the U.S. is leaving NATO and how serious we should all be concerned about the Russians. Let's roll it right now.
Make no mistake, President Trump will not allow anyone to turn Uncle Sam into Uncle Sucker. Thank you, and we're glad to take some questions.
Thanks very much.
So in that clip right there, you saw Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, talk about how the United States is not going to be made out to be a bunch of suckers. And people, as always, overreact. They take things way too far. But there is a little justification. Well, there's a lot of justification for Pete Hegseth saying that. Let's pull up. Everyone who's in NATO is supposed to be spending 2% of GDP in order to fund their defense, and thus the greater common defense of Europe. These are numbers from this past summer, NATO 2024. Spain, 1.28%. Slovenia, 1.29%. Luxembourg, 1.29%. Belgium, 1.3%. Canada, who wants to boo the national anthem of the United States, they're only paying 1.37%. Italy, 1.49%. Portugal, 1.55%. Croatia, 1.81%. And Slovakia, 1.99%. Now, you do have some countries that are paying way more. Poland is the best example at 4.12%. Poland is building the greatest military in Europe. They're building the greatest army in Europe. They are advancing in technology. They are essentially on a war footing, a defensive footing against the Russians, and they deserve a lot of credit as to where other people, I just read a list of freeloaders, don't deserve any credit at all. In fact, if anything, they deserve a lot of criticism. And that's why people have always speculated, is the United States going to leave NATO? Because you have these countries that take, don't really put much in, but then they know the United States of America will defend them no matter what. Canada, case in point, even though Canada is obviously in North America, not in Europe. But take any country I name from that list. For every country like Poland, which is doing an amazing job of footing the bill, putting in the time, sweat, and effort into its defense, you have a laundry list of countries who are just essentially riding the coattails of the United States. Now, does that mean the United States is leaving NATO? The United States is absolutely not leaving NATO. Let me put that to rest right now. The United States is not leaving NATO. There is no doubt about the fact that we're staying in. We wouldn't gain anything, really, from leaving NATO, right? It is the world's most powerful military alliance, and the United States is in the driver's seat of that military alliance. It wouldn't make a lot of sense for us as the driver and most powerful member of the world's most powerful military alliance to just throw our hands up and say, you guys are on your own. Good luck with the Russians or whoever else might come along. The United States is out. We're going back. That's not going to happen. I don't care what anyone believes about Trump. Anyone telling you Trump is pulling out of NATO, I hate to tell you, is lying to you. It's not going to happen. He was president for 4 years before. Didn't do it then. No reason to believe he's going to do it now. But would you even need the United States to win a war if Russia invaded into Poland, pushed past them into Germany? Could NATO fight and push back the Russians? Even if the United States wasn't there, let's talk about that right now. The simple answer to the question about whether or not the Russians actually have the capabilities to steamroll their way across Europe is incredibly simple. The answer is no. The answer is absolutely not. We have watched the Russians get bogged down in this war in Ukraine, and make no mistake about it. Anyone who tells you Ukraine is winning the war has a fundamental misunderstanding of what's going on there. Russia has more men, and Russia has all the time in the world on their side. Now, that's not to say that the Ukrainians haven't fought bravely or that they haven't fought proudly for their country. All of that can be true. Russia is a way bigger country with an arms industry, and they can get into a long, protracted, bloody, drawn-out war, and Ukraine simply cannot. And that's the situation they now find themselves in. Does that mean that if there's some kind of peace agreement where Russia takes part of the territory it kept, that they're going to march into Poland next? If Russia can't beat Ukraine's third-rate military, do we really think they're going to beat one of the world's most advanced militaries in Poland? Does anyone really believe that? Does anyone really believe Putin's forces, after not even being able to take the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, however you want to pronounce it, they couldn't take that, but they're going to take Warsaw against a country with modern air defenses, F-35 stealth fighter jets, massive amounts of tanks, armor, and well-trained, well-fed, and men who are eager to fight. They're going to take that country? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. This fear-mongering about if Ukraine falls, that all of Europe is next. Well, if they truly believe that, they should start spending a lot more on defense. But the fact that they're not tells you that they know that's not true. That's just a fear tactic. It's a scare tactic to try to kick the United States to bend to their will to do what they want. Russia's military has proven that it can't even overwhelm a country it borders. But now it's going to go all the way into Poland. It's going to go all the way to France. I don't think so. I absolutely do not think so. So that, to me, are the two big points. No, the United States is not leaving NATO, even though people need to pay more. Two, the idea that the Russian military is going to cruise across Europe and just blow out NATO countries when they can't even beat Ukraine outright. Now, they've taken territory. No one doubts that. But they can't even take the country outright. But they're going to take highly advanced, well-trained military forces like the Poles Absolutely no chance at all. But I've been wrong before, could be wrong again. Let me know in the comments if you think the United States will leave NATO or if you think they'll stay in NATO. And let me know if you think Russia could roll across Europe if Putin tries to get him to. As always, like and subscribe. I'll see y'all next time.